this sessions is obviously as a follow-up to that partner submit where we want to share a little bit more in depth into some of the new feature and product that we have. And hence we have today our lead solution engineer, Sumit, and our solution engineer senior member, Kavita, to join us to share a little bit more insight into what are the features that Katalon has that have speed up the process of testing. You might hear me repeat a bit some of the information that we have in the submit for those that who don't attend. But with that, I just want to have Sumit and about himself to getting the audience to know you a little bit better. Why don't you get started, Sumit?
Thanks, Antoine. Hey, everyone. So, as Antoine mentioned, I am part of the social engineering team here at Katalon. I'm leading one of the teams here. So, first of all, happy to be here. And my experience has been over 10 years in quality space. And yeah, I've worked with multiple software solutions, software testing solutions, and now with Katalon for past 3 years. And it has been an amazing journey. And hopefully, I can pass on whatever I've learned here in the past 3 years in this webinar. So looking forward to it, and please hit up with us any questions you have in the chat. Happy to answer any of it. And yeah, I'll pass it on to Kavita.
Thank you, Sumit. Hello, everyone. I'm Kavita. I'm the senior solution engineer here. I have been with Katalon for last 3 years too. It's a great opportunity to connect with you all. If you have any questions, let us know.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Sumit. Thank you, Kavita, for the introductions. I know, typically we do give a couple of few minutes more for people to join. Just some housekeeping items. So, by the way, if you have any questions, requests, please put it into the chat. There is a specific chat block in which you can request. So, if the question is something that we can address right on the call, we'll try to do so. If your request or question is a little bit more require a bit more time as we need to go in depth into a specific feature or a specific scenario, we'll follow up with you after the call to do so. So the goal for this session is to enable partners like you to better understand of the new feature that we have, and if you see a use case in which this feature or product can be applied, please contact your PAM or, drop your messaging here. We'll try to follow up right afterward. And, there will be a Academy certificate training as well available for this AI feature, which we'll share in the follow-up. And lastly is if you're interested in Truetest, which is a little bit more hands-on experience, let your PAM knows and we'll follow up with you afterward. With that, let's get the session started. So you might have in the submit not too long ago, right? This is the world that we in. We see more development works is going on, and with the assistant of AI, more code are being generated than ever before. And I think you have seen some of the quotations flying around where X percentage of code at some of the big company already being developed by AI, and there are more code generated than ever before. So a lot of the development on the works generating more on the testing, and that's created the bottleneck, which even without the existence of AI, the testing has been a bottleneck for teams and for both the end user and the partners that we're working with. So with the introduction of AI, this problem has been exacerbated more than ever before. There with more code, there's more requirements, there's more planning, there's more, test case to write, to set up, to execute, and to maintain. And that's in turn kind of slow things down or end up with more bugs into the production environment, which no one wants. And so the traditional sense of testing isn't fast enough for this AI power development. So that's what we're looking to helping end user and partner do is to have rethinkings how we do testings and introduce not just AI for cliche, but where it actually helps in terms of looking at the requirements, generating manual test case, or looking at the looking at features into generate into requirements, and have AI feature that helping us looking at the planning, the designing, the setup, the execution process. And by the way, if you haven't tried some of these AI feature within Katalon, then this session will help give you insight to this because we've been developed quite a few of these, and we're probably not doing a great job and communicate it out to the end user and the partners, which this series is supposed to help bridge the gap. So Sumit and Order, in this case, will showcase you a little bit more, kind of a full flow end to end, where some of these AI features will help to speed up the process. Both in terms of ship left, how you can test a little bit earlier, as well as ship right, where you able to monitor user experience and incorporate it into the requirement. And I'll leave with this last slide is that we're able to do this by incorporating AI agent in every single step of the way, right? Most of you know about Katalon as a studio enterprise and runtime engine for on-prem setup. We also have Test Cloud for kind of cloud device executions, whether it's on web or mobile. If you haven't tried these out yet, reach out to your PAM. We're happy to assist you with it. Was test ops. The goal is to incorporate agents at every single step of the way. It's not to change how you do testing, but to assist and have these agents better incorporate. And as in this demo session, you see some of the agent at work and how it assists you. With that, I'll leave that to Sumit and the team to carry it forward in terms of the demo.
Thank you so much, Antoine. Really appreciate you setting up the overview. So yeah, I think I'll directly jump into the product showcasing. So I think you guys all have be seen some of our products. So here I would want to first start with the the very first phase of whatever we do when it comes to testing, right? That is the plan phase and how we progress from there. So let me quickly share my screen and just I hope it is visible. So Antoine, Kavita, any one of you, please confirm that screen is visible.
Yeah,
It's
Cool.
great.
So I think everyone will agree as soon as you get your requirements, the first thing from a testing perspective would want to do is analyze those requirements and convert it into automated test cases. So currently, what I'm sharing on my screen is the revamped version of Testops. It is our native test management solution. You may have used or seen a previous version of it, but this one is what we have created from, let's say, ground up. We have upgraded the UI, we upgraded the overall experience, and we have added a ton of AI related features in here. So how do we get started, right? So we already so let's say we already get a set of our requirements. So most of your clients and you yourself would be using either Jira or Azure DevOps when it comes to requirement management. So Testops has a seamless integration with both Jira and ADO for requirement management, as well as for defect management, which I'll be talking about towards the end of this webinar as well. So let's assume you have some requirements. So you can easily connect to your Jira board. And this is one of my boards which I'm connected to. And you can actually see your requirements directly getting pulled into Testops. And if I just click on this link, you will see that these requirements are actually coming from a Jira project. So I'm not just making it up with a reality, right? So it is coming from my Jira project. From here, you can just pick up any one of your requirements. So as I mentioned, being part of the testing team, the first thing which you would want to do as soon as you see some requirements is that you would want to create manual test cases out of it. Because without any manual test case, you really would not be able to automate. So here, they are the most straightforward and the direct way which we have been using till now is just click on, let's say, create test case, and you get a form, you start filling it up, you can add your own descriptions, preconditions, and so on. And that is how you will be creating your manual test cases. But now we have added the power of generative AI directly into this. So what does this entail? So based on the requirement description and the acceptance criteria, here you can see there is generate test cases button. If I click on it, within seconds, it will leverage generative AI. It will go through all this information and it will start to create my manual test cases. Here you will notice it's not blindly creating manual test cases out of it. It will also ask you clarifying questions, additional context, so that the result which it generates is more relevant to your requirement. Now, why it is important? Because sometimes the requirements can be ambiguous. Sometimes the requirement may not have all the necessary information to create a well-versed manual test case. So here again, this is completely optional, but if you want, you can see you can just add in more relevant information if you want to, and if there is any additional context you want to provide, that is also available. From here, you can just add more. If not, then I will just hit this skip and generate button. And within seconds, you will notice that it has converted my requirement into set of manual test cases. That is how we are bringing the power of AI to help you in overall reducing your test effort, but also boosting your productivity. So I'm just waiting for a couple of seconds, let it do its magic, and I'll be able to see the list of manual test cases here. Now, again, you will notice it does not blindly source everything for you. There may be some things which it needs to be changed. For example, you're not happy with the description, or maybe you want to add some other preconditions or so on, right? So all these options are available. So you can still add on or change any of this information. If you want, you can even regenerate the steps after making these changes. Also, you will see the set of test steps and some dummy data already created for you. If you want to add on any extra step, you can. But finally, if you're happy, you can just select a folder, basically a storage where you want to store this manual test case within desktops, and just hit the save button. So it is this simple and straightforward when it comes to creating manual test cases and quickly storing it for your future reference. So, Antoine, do we pause for a few questions here, or do you just continue?
Let's move. Let's continue with the demo, and we'll handle the question afterward.
Sure, no worries. Now that's the first part, right? So we leverage the generative AI feature, we got our manual test cases, but what next? So obviously the next step would be that I would want to execute these manual test cases, and that is where test ops again comes into play. I can simply go to my executions. I can say create a manual test run, select, give it some name. So let's say I want to do a smoke test of the manual test cases I've created. Release and sprint is completely optional. This is again coming directly from my Jira. So if you have a release or a sprint created, that can also be integrated. You can select the test cases you have, or one of the test cases you already have, or the ones you have just created. Here I'm choosing a test suite. Click on save. Select the configuration where you want to run this. Click save and just hit the run now button or the schedule button. So what it will do is it will essentially launch it in test pack, and you will manually execute the test case. Now, once the manual execution is completed, this is what it will look like. So what is the advantage here? So first of all, if you remember back in the days of ALM, we had something called a sprinter. So we have introduced similar functionality with desktops. Essentially, you have a structured way of executing your manual test steps. And then once the manual test steps are executed, you can also choose to convert it into automated test cases. So this is where we bring into, or we pivot to another of our product, which is Truetest. So what is Truetest? It's essentially an autonomous test generation solution which resides inside your application. And as you're performing your test steps, it will convert your manual scenarios also into automated test cases. So just to give you a rough idea, so I'll just go to my test and journey maps. And if I open one of the maps I have created, so this is what Truetest does for you, right? So this is actually some of the test cases I ran, and these are all automated test cases. So here you can see whatever test steps I'll perform, it will be mapped to some steps. And this is essentially a full-fledged Katalon Studio project, which you get out of it. So it's a very small part of what I'm showing you from a Truetest perspective, but I just wanted to give you a hint that yes, if you're leveraging desktops, you can actually convert your manual scenarios into automated test cases. So that is from the one of the first ways of how you can convert your manual scenarios into automated. For the next, I'll pass it on to Kavita. So she'll show you something which is familiar, right? The Katalon Studio part, and how what all new features from an AI perspective we have added before we wrap it up from my side. So Kavita, I'll pass it on to you.
Sure. Thank you. Let me quickly share my screen. Let me know once you're able to see it. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So for the next part, we will be covering AI functionalities within Katalon Studio itself. Since you all have been working with Katalon for a long time, so I understand that you might be familiar with the existing features that were there before, like record and play, project management, self-healing, smart weight, all these things. So I'll mainly be covering the new things that we have added within Katalon Studio and how these things can work for you on a daily basis, right? So the new thing that we have added is this AI Studio capability, which is a prompt-based functionality which can help you create your test sessions, maintain, or you can ask questions. You can add your different tools here with the MCP servers. So this AI Studio Assist will have two mode that you can see. One is the ask mode. Ask mode is specifically to understand what is going on in your test cases. Let's say if you get any knowledge transfer from any other testers, you would like to understand each and every you know step of your test session, what has been covered in your cases. You can use this mode to ask questions about your existing questions, existing test cases, and explain the code, generate the code accordingly. It also gets the pretext from this current file view that you see. If I have opened login, it will be we will be able to ask the questions about this use case and create different scenarios. So for this, you can either go here and ask, okay, explain the code, test case named login, and it will go ahead, it will read your test session step by step and give you a preview of that, having the plain English lines here, right? So you can see the steps. You can understand, okay, this is what we did here, and from where I need to go ahead and start from. This is the first thing that you can achieve. Second thing is you can generate the code. If you have, let's say, some methods around it that you need to be created. I have input parts here, right? So inputs are basically to provide registration number and all these things. If these are the unique properties and you need to create synthetic data around it or something like that, you can ask for creating a method. So it will generate a method for you. So it will be helping you in a day-to-day task where you are creating your sessions. You require additional support for a few methods, or you need to have the understanding of your test cases, anything that you need to do. The ask mode will be there for you to provide your provide you the answers to your prompt, and it will be giving you more specific data on that, right? Then you can go ahead, you can see these scripts, you can attach it into your script mode, you can utilize it. So you don't have to yourself go ahead and find these things anywhere else. It will all be available, and all the data that gets generated here, it will be in a way that you can attach it into your existing scripts. It will be written in Java and Groovy, right? So these are some of the things that you can use from the ask mode. You can ask for documentation if you need to do some sort of setup or an integration you're looking for. You can say, okay, search document for latest releases, or anything, right? Any integrations you are doing, or any setup you require for your mobile testing or anything of that sort. It will give you the document link here, which you can open, and you can go ahead and ask additional questions, right? So this ask mode is specifically to give you brief answers, and it will also be asking you if you need additional resources, or like you see here, there are additional follow-up questions. How can I create reusable custom keywords? What are the best practices to input or validate in error and error handling in Katalon Studio? So these things you can utilize, and you can use it in your day-to-day basis. The second mode that we have here is agent mode. Agent mode will provide you more specific answers. It will update your scripts. It will create test cases for you. It will give you plain vanilla scripts for your sessions. And it additionally has integrations with different tools. When we say integrations, means there are MCP tools available in the market that you can add on your own. So if you have any MCP servers, I have a example of that. If you have GitHub, let's say you would like to connect, you can just go ahead and do that. There are multiple other tools that we work with in a daily basis. Let's say GitHub, GitLab, or Jira. Anything that I need information on this prompt, I can go ahead and create this MCP server connection. All the connections will be working here. For the authentication, it's not supported as of now, but all the unauthenticated MCP servers will be connecting. For us, currently, we have Katalon Studio Connect here, where we can update, we can create our custom keywords. So it actually generates things for you. It can work on your script. It can update the script. It can create additional steps for your script. It will have more relevant information and more updated information regarding your tool sets and regarding Katalon Studio, because all this data is coming from Katalon and your other tools directly. So these MCP servers will have different objectives. For us, we have Studio, we have search for documentation, read the documentation. We have test stops as well. I believe you already are aware with test stops. So we also have the options to ask questions around our projects, our repositories, the requirements that we work with, how many test cases we have created. I just created a test case from manual test sessions. You will see there is already a chat available. So uh, for this, I took a project ID and a test case ID from my test stops. So I have test stops here. I have manual test cases created like this. If you need to ask any questions, you just have to provide it information so it can understand which property you are talking about. If you're working on a project, you can define the project ID. You can provide the name of the test case or the ID of the test case. It will just be giving you more information. So yesterday what I did is I had this manual test case created for me. I just wanted to see what are all the keywords that it will use for me to create a end-to-end automation script. So I just wanted to convert it. I took this project ID and test case ID and I created this prompt to go ahead and give me the automation script using this test ID in manual. So it asked me for additional information. Firstly, I didn't mention the project name, I just had the ID. Like any other prompts, when it needs you to have any specific information to target that property, it will ask you for that and you can chat with it, right? This is the information that I gave, and it created the same use case for me. This is the one that I created with it. So you can see verify print functionality in Chrome. This is the same use case that I was trying to go ahead and create automation for. It is already created there. It will give you the answers. Okay, we have created this. Here you can find it. And you will also see it in the prompt that it has provided you the whole script. If you need additional things, you can ask for it. I needed to add verification. I needed to add description after each step. So it did all of it. And now I can see end to end what does my script would look like, and I can add different things. You can also get the updates here, like what is the latest update with Katalon, or you can ask for the defects if you have any defect ID, what is going on there, and then you will get more information if you have Jira added here, right? So when I was asking for defects, it said okay, for the project I got it, the organization I have it, but I need to confirm if you have any defect ID. If you have this defect ID, you can go ahead provide it. If not, you can add Jira or DevOps or anything which are providing MCPs, and you can get more information, right? So this is how Studio will be working as an AI virtual assistant within Katalon Studio. So you don't have to go out and search for all this information. Okay. I think I'm done. Shall we wait for questions or will we do any
I think I think we can just complete the demo and then we can go for question and answers. But thank you so much, Kavita. I think this really adds on a lot to what we have recently added, and we have been adding a ton of features. So as Anton mentioned, actually because we are adding features at light speed, sometimes it becomes really hard to keep up. So we are more than happy to continuously engage with you all just to ensure that you are up to date with our latest offerings. So that's Kavita's part. So thank you so much, Kavita. And I'll share my screen once again, right? So so what Kavita showed was the traditional automation, right? From an IDE perspective, where you go and build out the test cases. And you already saw that we have already added a ton of features there. For example, the agentic approach, where you can have different MCP servers configured and you can just simply add a prompt and it will start doing multiple tasks for you. Outside of that, you don't have to leave the solution because you have a chat window. You can just go in and start asking questions. It will find you relevant documentations. And this is all specific to, or this is all fine tuned. So the results which get generated are more Catalan centric. So now you're not looking for generic results. You're looking at results which will actually help you out when you're working with Catalan. So that's one way, right? That's one of the ways which we showed you how you can create automated test cases. And then there is Truetest, which is one of our flagship product. So what is Truetest? As I think I already gave you a quick overview that you have an agent installed, it tracks the user interaction, and it does all of that, and you get automated test case. But what does it really mean? How will you visualize it, right? So this is one of our demo applications where we actually have the agent installed. And as you can see, when I say the agent is installed, essentially it's just 2 lines of JavaScript code which needs to be added. So once this agent is up and running on your application, what it will do is it will start tracking your interaction. Now, why all of this is important, right? Because I'm saying a lot of things about AI, but it's very important to understand why it is important. You see, till now, whenever we test, we mainly assume, right, that this is how our application is going to be tested, or we mainly test with a specific team, which is generally the testing team. But I think everyone on the call would agree that these are not the only stakeholders when it comes to my applications. The other stakeholders could be if within my team, there could be business analysts, these could be SMEs, this could be my alpha user, these could be my beta users. Similarly, if we go to the far right of this, my actual users are my retail users, the people who are actually using my application. So whenever we test from a traditional perspective, we are mainly focused on how we assume the team or our team, or how we assume how the end users are going to use the application. But there is always a gap. And that's why we see that defects are always leaking into production. Again, doesn't mean that our team is not capable. It doesn't mean we are not doing enough. It's simply because applications are growing so fast, applications are changing so fast, and we are adding. And again, as Antoine mentioned, in the world of AI, because and the vibe coding being the new trend, everyone is adding ton of lines of code. But are we really enough testing and understanding how it is being used? So that is where Truetest comes into picture. So first, which for one of the scenarios which I mentioned previously was, let's say you have a TrueTest enabled environment. Now you don't have to just rely on the testing team. You can give the environment to any of your team members. Let's say your business analysts, your SMEs, your alpha users, your beta users, your other stakeholders of the product, and even their experiences can be tracked. And in turn, you can get automated test cases out of it. So not only you are getting their experience, but also you can get to convert that experience into automated test case. A couple of folks asked me questions in the chat. Can I run my Selenium script and get Studio script out of it? Or can I run my Tosca scripts? Or can I run any of my other commercial tools which are extremely hard to migrate? So that's again a very important or a very cool feature within TrueTest, because it is essentially not tracking the framework. It is agnostic of that. So you have a TrueTest enabled environment. You can just go run your test cases, any of your previously created framework and test cases, and it will track all those web UI interactions and convert it into Katalon Studio scripts. So your migration effort suddenly is almost non-existent because you're just running the same test cases and you get a Katalon Studio script out of it. Second, as you are having this environment up and running, and your other stakeholders, even your manual testing team, right? You can just leverage their experience and get your baseline test cases out of it. So now your automation team is not spending a lot of efforts to automate from scratch. And that is how you're able to automate enough. Because now you've got enough time, you got your baseline scripting, and you can just start creating automated test cases out of it. And finally, you can have the Truetest engine deployed even in a production environment. And from there, you can actually cover the gaps, right? You can understand, okay, these are the gaps. This is how I tested. But then again, in my production, I see my users are actually concerned about, let's say, flow ABC, which I have not even considered. And then I can cover that gap. And I'll quickly give you a glimpse of that. So as you can see, the agent is currently up and running. So I'm tracking the interactions. Let me go back to my environment and in my journey map. So currently we have two versions of this application or two environments. One, this is the production, as well as we have staging. So here you can see two maps are active. So you can define a time frame for which you want to generate the map. Let me open one of the environments. So here you can see this is one of the maps we got out of production. Now let's say I want to quickly cover the gap between the two. I just want to analyze, right? What is the difference between what we assume to test and then what actually happened in production? So we have a cool analyze coverage gap feature where I can just go in, select one of the maps and the other one, and just click on analyze. So within seconds, it will tell me what specific flows are not getting covered in the secondary map. And then if I want, I can just click on this generate test case button, and it will quickly generate automated test cases to cover these gaps for me. So as you can see, we are covering the gap from both the sides, not just from a shift right perspective, but also from the shift left perspective. So you can test more, and that's always been the idea, right? The idea is never to automate more. The idea is always to test more. And that is where Truetest comes into picture. Let me quickly show you one of the Truetest projects we have for the same application. How does it look like? And what do we really mean that it generates a full-fledged automation project for you? So this entire project comes out of Katalon Truetest. We had not made any changes to it, made very minor modification, for example, passing the data and all is required. But this entire project was created by Truetest. When we say the entire project, it created the entire test cases, all the test steps associated with that project. Any object which needs to be created will also be created by or by Truetest. And similarly, if any parameterization needs to happen, that will also happen via Truetest. So just imagine this, right? You are working on a project. It takes you, let's say, 10 hours to start creating your regression pack. Now with Truetest, I just had my manual testing team come in, perform those test cases, and within an hour, I'm able to generate all of this. And again, let's say it takes another hour for me to make it execution ready. So now I'm easily saving around 80% efforts as compared to my initial efforts. And that's the power which Truetest brings in. From here, if I want, I can just give it a quick run. So let me just give it a quick run and hopefully it works. But yeah, while it is running, see, the idea is always going to reduce your overall test efforts, right? So how do we do that? Is by ensuring that you have enough time at hand post you are done with your automation. So you can test more. You can do those things which no solution can do for you. So as you can see, it is running my test case. And now it is run it. And yeah, so it's that straightforward. So that's the part of Truetest, right? And once we are done with this, so we go circle back to test ops. Now see, we have generated our test cases, manual test cases. We converted those manual test cases into automated test cases using Truetest. And then we even executed them. But what next? So all of this only is beneficial if I get good quality test reports out of it. And that is where test ops again shines up. So if I go to my report section and I'll just select test runs, I'll be able to see all my previous execution which may have happened. So test ops, as I mentioned, is our full-fledged test management platform. So alongside the power of Jira for your requirement management and defect management, it will give you an end-to-end visibility into your testing project. For example, here I ran one of the test cases, and as soon as the run finished, the reports are automatically filled back into this platform. From here, you will get a ton of information like what was the total number of test cases ran, how many passed, how many failed. If any failure occurred, that will also be grouped very clearly in the failed test result section. Why it is important? Just imagine if you're running a test suite of 500 test cases, and if any five had failed at random, if you have to go through the entire test report just to find failure, again, it's quite a tedious task. But here, I can clearly see that in the failed test result section. Similarly, if I want to see more detail associated with this, I can just click on this link. It will open the failure and I'll get detailed information about this failure. This was a manual run, but here you will see we have the AI analysis feature also added in. So now you don't need to make sense of entire error log, entire stack trace. You can simply click on this button and leveraging the power of generative AI, and it will tell you, or it will at least give you enough context as to why this failure has occurred. It also adds a confidence percentage, so so you can at least be ensured that how accurate the result is. From here, if you want to raise a defect, you can simply click on the report defect button. So as I mentioned, there's a direct connection or integration with Jira. So either you can link to an existing Jira defect, or if you want, you can directly create a fresh Jira defect from here and you can push it to Jira. So there is a bi-directional relationship. So you being part of the testing team, you will never have to leave desktops. You will just do all your testing related activities here and you will get complete support when it comes to, let's say, Jira or ADO. So that's the reporting part. But do we just stop at reporting? Do we just show you all this information and you have to, again, create your own matrix? So the answer is no. We convert all this information into useful high-level reports. So there are different types of report. For example, there is coverage analysis, there is quality assessment types of report, there is test case management, test execution analysis, and so on. And they're continuing to add on more and more report. If I click on, let's say, requirement traceability, which is one of the more important types of report, which everyone is looking at, which clearly tells me if I'm ready to release or not. So this single screen will give me information about what all requirements are getting covered, what are the different test cases which are covering these requirements, what was the last run result, and if there is any defect associated, what is that defect. We also have added an AI briefing feature on all these reports. If I click on this button, it will quickly generate a summary of the report. So now you don't even have to reduce all of this. Obviously, a lot of times you may not have enough time to go through the reports in detail. So this brief is going to help you out. It will tell you what is the risk and red flags and what you should focus for the next period and what all information it is gathering from, what all different metrics it has taken into consideration. And finally, we have the dashboard. So all these metrics are shown in. We divided it into three dashboards. The first one is the analytics and trends. The second is the live monitor, and the third is the release L. So if you are a stakeholder, from your perspective, what you're really interested in, what is currently happening in my process, in my testing cycle, and can I get a high level overview of at any given point of time. So the trends dashboard does exactly that. Here it will be filled with trends. If you want to customize, you can even edit this dashboard and select any one of the widgets which is available. And as you can see, we have added a 10 and we are continuing to add on to this. We have a AI briefing feature here as well. Similarly, we have the live monitoring. In here, you can add, you can monitor what is currently happening in terms of, let's say, automation coverage, how many test cases are pending, is there any critical test case which has not been done, what is the test case distribution, how many are manual, how many are automation, and so on. And one of my favorite one and one of the most important one is the release help. This gives you a clear picture if you're ready to release or not. So if my readiness is at risk, that means something is definitely not right, and I have to figure it out why. And then if I, again, as I mentioned, right, if I don't have enough time, I just want a quick overview, I can just click on the AI briefing button and it will generate a quick overview for me. Finally, how do I share these reports with, let's say, other stakeholders in my team? Obviously, you have your testing team, but then there are stakeholders who may not even have access to this or do not want access to this. They just want a quick report. So without adding them here, you can actually share these reports by simply clicking on the share current view. You can either notify the users by an email, or you can create a shareable link. You can even write your own message and set up the expiration. And if I copy the shareable link and open it, you will see that without adding anyone to your project, or essentially you assigning an extra license, you can share your report to other stakeholders who are not an active user of test docs. So keeping that in mind, that we understand there will be a lot of guest user, we have generated this functionality also. So in nutshell, this is the requirement to release flow with the new Katalon platform. As you can see, we have added a ton of features, right from the generative AI-based manual test case generation to Studio, where we have added features like Studio Assist, which is a chatbot, and the Studio Assist MCP servers, where you can connect other MCP servers as well. We also have added integration with other LLM services, which I mentioned in the chart. But if you want to know more in detail, feel free to hit us. And from there, when it comes to execution and reporting, you will see that you have a centralized platform for all of that. And we have added other AI-based analysis features in here as well. So this is, in nutshell, the part by which I was supposed to track. But if there are any questions I can help answer, I think we can move on to question and answers and so on.
Sure.
And let me know if I missed anything. I'll be happy to cover that.
No, this is indeed very comprehensive. So I think some of the questions has been asked in the chat session. So one of the newest question we have is sometime I use Katalon Studio to create API script. Do you think it'll be created using the AI agent you have? Yeah.
Okay, I think I'll take it from the last one, which I answered. I think that will cover. Yeah. So what happens to the chat when we close the Katalon session? Will it be saved? No. So the session currently is not saved. As of now, as long as the chat window is open, you can continue to have the conversation. But if you close it, the conversation will not be stored. Like it will not be available for the next session. I think the team is working on that, but as of now, this is the current the current status of that. Okay. During migration, objects are also taken care of, manually objects to be mapped to test script. Yes. So objects are also automatically created. If you run your, let's say, Selenium script using Truetest, then the objects are also automatically created. Again, we try to create everything, every object, but again, I think you will agree, given the complexity and the types of application, 100% one-to-one migration may not be possible. But yes, the idea is that how we can reduce your effort. Let's say if it is taking you 100 hours, how we can change it to, let's say, 10 hours. So that's the kind of the value it adds. And then sometimes I used to create API script. Do you think it will be created using the AI agents you have? Yes, we are working and we are actually revamping the API test generation within Studio as well. I'm not sure if you saw one of the release note, but now we have added inheritance-based authentication within the API objects within Studio. So now if you create one authentication, the child request automatically takes in. Similarly, we are adding more into this. Okay, and then how Truetest agent works on AUT. Pallavi, can you like add more detail? I'm not sure what you mean by this. How Truetest agent works on the AUT. Yes, Suvina, the recording will be shared with you, and it will be shared, right, Antoine? It will be shared with the team. Yeah, right. I'm just waiting for a little bit clarification on Pallavi's question, but I think we answered pretty much all the questions, right?
Yeah. So if you have more questions, please feel free to contact your PAMs or your partner alliance manager, or you can also go through the calondocs.com to find some answer for yourself. So I know I was left before the demo. We were at this slide, so I just want to kind of mention a little bit why this slide was in it. So essentially, a lot of the AI features and product that we do, it's all add up, right? It all add up to how we envision the future for AI testing, and that's how we got Gartner's. Essentially, they went through Katalon Truetest, went up on the AI products, and in their Quadrant for AI-Augmented Software Testing tool, they rank Katalon as a visionary of how we, start to incorporate some of the AI into test automation and QA. So this is almost like a validation for all the works that we've been doing until now. So really, if I were to have to boil down Katalon use case, there are three main scenario where Katalon will add a lot of value. Is one, if you have a customer or your project involve moving from manual testing to automated testings with AI, Katalon will be a great fit. And I think we'll see this in some of the projects where partners involved as well as the end customer that we have. The use case number two is where customer is looking to migrate from full code to AI power low and no code. So again, this is where a lot of the feature that Sumit and the team has been showcased has been a good fit, as well as the use case number three, which is customer looking for affordable alternative to more enterprise proprietary tool, either LibWork, Tasker, Micro Focus, UFT, or Test Complete. So if you have a projects that fall into these three scenario and you'd be interested in some of the feature we mentioned, please feel free to reach out to your partner alliance managers, or you can also contact me. I'll putting my email in the chat so you can contact me if you have any question. I'll typing it right now. There we go. And in terms of next step, again, if you see anything interesting and that applicable for your project, you can always contact your partner alliance managers, which is either Shashang or Kitika, based on where you at. You can also go and get the certificate for AI-driven test automation on our Katalon Academy. This will be provided in the follow-up. And if you're interested in Truetest, let us know and we'll walk you through it. Yeah. So with that, I know we cut up a little bit early, but I think we answer all the questions. Again, so we'll save all the chat logs so that if you have any further question, we can always revert back to it. But thank you everyone for attending. And if interested, please feel free to go on, download the trial, and try it for yourself, or you can contact your partner managers if to request for more in-depth discussions. Happy to take it from there. Thank you, everyone.
Everyone.
And, again,
Thank
the
you,
recording
everyone.
percent, so you can take a look at it afterward. Thank you, everyone.